Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Cully and I'm on a mission to help you evolve into the best version of yourself. And today I'm talking about something that impacts so many people around the world, and I'm sure it's impacted you at some point too. Anger and resentment. More importantly, how to release it. Now we've all been there, right? We've all held on to this anger, hoping that it somehow hurts the other person. But realistically, it doesn't. It's only hurting you. Now, I'm sure you've seen some of those old school cartoon sketches, right, where the convict is dragging around a huge ball and chain on his ankle, and every time they move, it's there, just dragging behind them, reminding them of their captivity. But that ball is your anger and resentment. It's made up of every harsh word that someone has ever said to you, every bitter argument that you've ever had, every single time you replay that wrongdoing in your head. Now, I know you're probably thinking, but you don't understand what they did to me. And you're right, I don't know what they did to you, and I don't know what they said to you. But here's what I do know. Carrying that anger around is messing your whole life up. You're trying to attract and create a life of your dreams with a gigantic ball and chain attached to your ankle. What kind of life do you really think you're going to be able to create for yourself if you're carrying around all that anger? So what do you do with it all? You can't just ignore it, because you've probably tried that for years and you know that doesn't work. You've got to address it, you've got to acknowledge it, and then you have to release it. You've got to actively work to remove the anger from inside of you. And the moment that you do, it's like you've been given a whole new lease on life. Suddenly everything's brighter, everything's easier, and life just flows more. But until you learn to do so, you have to ask yourself, how much stress are you dealing with just holding on to all of this anger and resentment? Have you ever noticed when you're caught up in all of those feelings, it's all you can talk about? You want to tell everybody and their neighbour the same story. It's like you're the main character in a drama where the story never changes. Now, don't get me wrong, you are the main character, but you need to change your story. If you're constantly replaying the same scenes over and over again, they did me wrong, how could they do this to me? Without even realising, you're absorbing the energy from something that may have happened 10 years ago, and you've let this anger define you. It's become your identity. You're no longer John, the guy who loves hiking, or Stacy who loves painting. You're John or Stacy, the guy or girl who got betrayed 5 years ago. But why do you do it? Why do you constantly replay the past? Now, you're not going to like this. It's easier to play the victim. It's easier to be the person who got wronged than the person who got wronged but grew from it. You see, moving on requires change. And change is scary. It's stepping into the unknown. It's a whole identity shift, because now you have to release all of that anger. But here's the thing, being stuck in that identity is like living in a mental prison that you've built for yourself. And the more you replay the things that have happened, it's like the walls start closing in. And I'm sure you'd agree with me, that's pretty exhausting. Constantly being on defense, always ready for a fight, even when there's nothing to fight against apart from your own imagination. So I'm going to ask you, is it worth holding on to all of this, letting it become and define who you are, and completely missing out on who you could become? Imagine rewriting your whole story, where you're not just a survivor of your past, but you become the thriving hero of your present. Because believe it or not, you can change the script. You may not be able to go back and change what happened, but you are completely in control of what happens next. You can change your whole story. Your whole life can change just by making one decision. You just have to decide that you're worth more than your pain. You're worth more than the past that's hurt you. You see, you're someone with dreams, with passions, someone who has a lot of love to give, and someone who wants to receive that love too. But you have to release the weight. Now, I'm not telling you to forget about what happened or what they did to you. I'm telling you to become more than what hurt you. Otherwise, you're really just tormenting yourself. And when you find yourself replaying that one moment over and over again, you may not realize this, but there's something kind of twisted happening. You see, the person who wronged you, the person who hurt you, they're out there living their life. They're completely oblivious that you're thinking about them and you're replaying the scenario. They have no idea that they're living rent-free in your mind. But you're having this Avenger-style battle with nobody else but yourself. And it's a strange concept when you think about it, but you lock yourself in this cycle of pain, replaying things, believing somehow it serves justice, as if letting go would mean it just didn't matter anymore. But I'm going to be honest with you, you need a reality check, because the only person you're punishing is yourself. The decision to forgive the person who hurt you starts with a decision. Simple as that. It's to accept that pain happens and to understand that clinging onto that pain will not change anything, but it will shape your future. Because let me tell you something, the world out there will give you enough challenges. It'll give you enough obstacles without you adding yourself and your imagination to the list of those challenges. So when you start fighting for yourself instead of against yourself, something amazing happens. You begin to heal. And in that healing, you will find strength that you never knew you had. You'll find opportunities that you never thought possible. This is exactly what we do in my online community. I'm helping members find that inner strength, and I'm helping them release the things that are no longer serving them. I'll put the link in the description if you want to check it out. I'm going to share something with you that could completely change the way you look at the world. We're going to call it Perspective 2.0. It's so simple, anyone can do it. All you have to do is change the way you look at things. Instead of seeing things as they are happening to you, start seeing things as everything is happening for you. Flat tire, the universe saved you from something. Boyfriend or girlfriend cheated on you, the universe saved you from something. You're watching this YouTube video, the universe is trying to teach you something. Lost 10 grand, the universe is trying to teach you something. Everything is happening for you. And the moment you can make that switch in your mind is the moment everything changes. All of the bad things, the heartaches, the moments we wish that we could erase from our memory completely, everything is happening for you and not to you. Think and Grow Rich author Napoleon Hill famously said, every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries within it the seed of equal or greater benefit. And I believe that with every ounce of my being. Every challenge, every bit of pain has the seed to teach, to grow, or to propel us into becoming the best version of ourselves. But here's the catch. It only works if you allow it. If you're willing to find that seed and nurture it, and you're willing to flip the script and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Instead of, why is this happening to me? That's when it all changes. Just think about it for a moment. That job you didn't get, the relationship that didn't work out, even the betrayal that felt like it broke you, they are all stepping stones to something greater, but only if you choose to see them that way. It's all about Perspective 2.0 is about finding the opportunity in the pain. And I know it's easier said than done, but when you start practicing this, something happens. Slowly, you begin to realize that you have way more control over your life and your happiness than you ever thought. You start to understand that life isn't happening to you. Life is responding to you. It's just cause and effect. Let's take it a little deeper. Are you the victim or the creator of your life? Whether you think of yourself as the victim or the creator, you are right. Now, you've probably heard this gem before, but life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. And it's true. You can't control everything that happens. In fact, you can't control anything that really happens. But what you can do is control how you respond. And if you choose to play the victim card, you're giving all of your power away. And believe me, you have a lot of power within you. You are literally telling the universe, here you go, take the steering wheel of my life. I'll just sit here in the back seat. You take me wherever you want to go. The creator, on the other hand, grabs that steering wheel with both hands and says, let's go. I'm in charge. You have to own every single choice you make. This is how you create your future. And yes, that includes owning your mistakes and learning from them. Being the creator of your life doesn't mean that you won't get knocked down. You will get knocked down, of course you will. It's life. But you get back up and you say, okay, that was rough. What masterpiece can I create from this pain? Stepping into the creator role will change your life. It's looking at a challenge and saying, come at me, because you know you have the grit and resilience to handle it. Sure, it's a bit scary and it's definitely not always comfortable, but guess what? Comfort never changed the world, and comfort never changed lives. You know what does change lives? Courage, curiosity, creativity, and action. If you were to get bitten by something poisonous, it's not the bite itself that causes the damage. It's the poison, and it's the poison that you need to locate and release. You see, when life comes at you, sometimes you focus so much on the incident itself, but it's not the incident that hurts you. It's the poison or the energy from that incident that is really causing the damage. And the energy you have absorbed internally. How many grudges have you held on to life that you're probably still holding on to today? How many times have you rehearsed a comeback or dwelled on the past, allowing that negative energy to flow through your mind, body, and soul? You have to release that energy. Energy cannot be lost. It can only be transformed. So when you absorb that energy, it's staying within you. And you have to release it, otherwise it's just causing serious damage. Anger, bitterness, the thirst for payback, trust issues. It's all toxic to your system. Holding on to that energy doesn't hurt the person who hurt you. It only hurts you. You're the one losing sleep. You're the one overthinking. You're the one doubting yourself. You're the one feeling the burn. And for what? An incident that happened 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago? What's the point? So how do you release it? You're probably not going to like this one either, but forgiveness and acceptance. Look, we've all made mistakes. You've made mistakes. I've made mistakes. Big ones, small ones. And, we've all made mistakes we wish we could erase altogether. But that's what makes us human. We mess up, we stumble, we fall head first. But here's the thing. There's a whole world of wisdom just waiting for you in all of your mistakes. That's where you learn. That's where you grow. That's where you become a better version of you. So don't be too hard on yourself. But you not only have to learn to forgive those who have hurt you, but you also have to learn to forgive yourself as well. Now, that's a very deep spiritual journey. But by not forgiving yourself, you're carrying around this massive bag just filled with guilt and regret. It's weighing you down and making your journey tougher. It's keeping you grounded when really you're supposed to be flying. And you know what? In most cases, you did what you thought was best at that time, given your knowledge, given the understanding back then. And maybe you were wrong in hindsight, but if you learned something from it, then you don't deserve to continue beating yourself up about it. Replace that regret with empathy. Replace that guilt with self-compassion. Because if you can't have compassion for yourself, then really, who will? And remember, self-forgiveness doesn't mean ignoring the mistake. Acknowledge it, learn from it, and then choose to step into growth. Everything happens for a reason. And that reason doesn't necessarily have to be some bigger plan from the universe, although I do believe there is always a bigger plan. Sometimes it's just to help you become a better you. Your life is like a book. Every event, every person, every victory, every loss, every heartache is just a sentence, a paragraph, or a chapter. Choose to see each of these incidents as a chapter in your book, but keep writing your next chapter. The plot twists, the tragedies, the didn't see that bit come in, they all add depth to your story. Sure, some chapters might seem confusing, some are going to be painful, and some are just going to be confusing, but they're all shaping you. They're all part of your journey. And let's be honest, every good story needs a bit of conflict for the hero to overcome, right? Where would the Avengers be without Thanos? If you can start seeing everything as having a place in your story, you can really begin playing this game of life. Find that believe in yourself sort of energy. That's how you conquer yourself. We all have that inner strength. Sometimes it just takes that little nudge, a little reminder from someone who's been there. So consider this as your wake-up call. It's time for you to let go of the past. It's time for you to start playing for Team You, because that's when your life will truly begin. That's all I got for you in this video. If you got some value out of this video, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and look, if you want to work on yourself and you want to learn how you can let go of anger and you want to learn how to become the best version of you, check out my membership in the description. It may just be what you're looking for. And don't forget to check out this video popping up on screen now, where I talk about how perfectionism doesn't really exist. I'll see you in the next one.